Hello everyone. Welcome back to another RevGD Rust project video blog. Today's project that we will cover in this video is also based on a Golang project YouTube video. And as always, I will add reference to the actual video as well as the source code for this Rust implementation in the video description below. The project is pretty simple. It is about verifying the email DNS or email providers capabilities. So it's an email verifier tool. In the Golang project, they were using some Golang libraries to achieve that. In case of Rust, I found this trust DNS resolve to be very useful. It almost provides the same capabilities as in the Golang project. You will find uh, uh, that I have reference in the video description. So, so that's the only dependency. Again, it's a simple project. The idea is that we will ask user to provide a domain name, and then we will query that domain name and get the information about, for instance, the domain. It has MX, SPF record, etc. So all this information that you see here will be provided in the same comma separated value. So starting from the top, um, we are adding the standard in. That's just to get the user input. Then we have the trust DNS resolve config. We are just adding all the basic methods from that cargo package. And next, that's the resolver from the same trust DNS resolver package. We'll see below resolver is used to query the DNS, so that's how we configure it. So in main method, first thing we are printing is the format that we'll be expecting to for the output format. And if you see in the main method, we are returning a result, a standard IO error. The only reason was just to keep things simple. So if I go on line number 10, so we are reading the line and I'm using the shorthand, this question mark method to unwrap the value. And if there is a error, it will just throw that error back to the UI. So next we print the message that we are requesting user to provide a domain name. Um, and then we are creating this variable and using the standard input and readline method to read the user entered text. We are not doing any verifications that it is in the proper format or not. That's, I guess, as per the project I was using as a reference. This is not in the scope. Next, we have our check domain method. So we'll pass the user input, just remove any new line characters from it because I believe when I tried without it, it was throwing an error. So just remove any new line characters because user will be hitting the enter key after they have entered the text. Um, okay, so that's pretty much it for the main method, and then going down to the check domain method, we are taking the user entered string as the value, as a parameter. And next, I'll just skip over this variable declaration. It's just creating some variables uh, for the MX, SPF, and DMAX. So when we query the DNS resolver, we'll see if it returns any information for that before we dig further into it. Here we are creating a new instance of the resolver. That's from the same DNS resolver library. We're starting with the default config. We are not providing any value, just go with the default configuration. Next, this is where we are checking if MX lookup for the user enter domain results in any MX response. So if the MX response is returned, so it's returned okay or error. So if there is no error and we get the value back, then we are trying to check that although there was no error, are there any values? And is sum is just checking if there is any value, and then we just return this. We set this variable has mx to true. Otherwise, we just print the message there was no mx record. After that, we are just looking at the txt lookup. So same resolver, we are just calling another method. Same way we get the txt response. If it is okay, there was no error, then we go ahead and loop through all the return values. Uh, and uh, and if we find any SPF has SPF true, then we get the value and break the loop. So we wait until there will be multiple entries that will be returned from the txt lookup. So we are looking for this specific v equals SPF1. So if we find, then we say has SPF true, otherwise it will be false. Next is just checking the DMARC from the same txt lookup. So instead of just doing the domain check this time, we are adding this DMARC dot to the domain name, and then we use the txt lookup again, just like the previous code. And this time we are checking for a value v equals DMARC1. So last one was v equals SPF1, and we have to do it separately because we have to add this extra condition underscore DMARC to the domain name. And if everything good, then we just print out these values. So let's see if we want to run this. So cargo run. So please enter a domain name. So let's try with the gmail.com. So it comes back with the information in the same output format that we are expecting. The domain name that we just queried has MX, SPF, etc. So we get all the, if it is VSPF1, we get the information. It's a redirect spf.google. Let's try one more. So outlook.com. So we get similar but a lot more data this time, especially from the SPF. We are getting multiple SPF entries in this case. So it seems to be working perfectly fine. Looks good. So that was it for today's video, and I will have the links for the source code, the GitLab link in the video description. Thanks for watching. Bye.